Cats, 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 cats. Um,
We should do cats one day and he'll just hold up the cat the whole time.
yeah, well, no, what I was just thinking is like when you were doing cats, 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 I'm just like zooming on Jumbo and chase him. Yeah, so we have our, so just to, I guess, quickly recap what's happening in our first episode. So we have Anakin, we have our hero protagonist. It doesn't
Yeah.
even have to be named Anakin. We just are using the name Anakin because
Just
that's
name him Chombo.
Chombo. Should replace all the Star Wars characters with cats. It's just
Yeah.
cats in
Cat
space.
names.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, you're onto something here.
oh my
We're
god.
cooking.
Yeah. So we have our hero. He grows up. He's not a slave, or he can be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be that hammered home. But essentially, he gets
Yeah.
rescued from his planet by these two Jedi and the Queen, who are running from this unseen threat, which is later revealed to be the Sith. And this guy kills all of Anakin's friends and family from where he
Yeah.
lives. So he's forced to go on this journey, learn about the Jedi and whatnot. And then we have Qui-Gon dying the same at the end of this first movie here. This was kind of spurs into action, but it's not going to be Darth Maul dying at the end. He's going to be, I guess, like the main villain.
Darth Maul never dies. I
Darth Maul
hope.
never dies. No, I think he should die at the end of the trilogy, of the first three movies, I
Yeah, for
think.
sure, for sure.
So in the second one, if we're do we still want to do clones? Do we still want to do a big Clone Wars? How big are the clones going to be?
Well, I think since we're expanding so much on like the Jedi being more of a religion and having a bigger presence, I don't
Hmm.
think so. I think the Jedi will have their own army
You think
of
so?
more Jedi focused or like lesser Jedi people who are like temple guardians maybe like to be a Jedi is to be like the pinnacle of said religion or faith, but you can have like lesser people who have like guns or knives
Oh,
or
so
whatever.
they use like this holy order has like a standing army then.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because they're kind of crusading across the galaxy. I also think the second episode for us probably should be where we set up and flesh out what the Sith are and how they
Oh, good idea.
operate
Yeah.
differently. Because we've introduced them, but we haven't really shown them off. People know they're the bad guy, but they don't know
Why
what
they're
they
the
do
bad
that's
guy?
bad
Like
or
why are they
what's
doing what they're
wrong.
doing? Yeah. Agreed.
But something that's nice about like Star Wars originally is it's not, I don't want to say it's ambiguous that they're the bad guy, but like it's not really like they're super bad, super good. They're like there are good parts and bad parts to both. Like
Right.
the Rebel Alliance is like basically just terrorists almost. They're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, we're just gonna blow up this space station and kill millions of people,
Yeah,
and
that's
everyone's like,
bonkers.
hell yeah, let's cheer for it,
Yeah, they're the good guys.
hell yeah, and then I mean that you can't say that the Sith or the what are they called? The Empire are the good guys either because they're like not enslaving planets, but they have a little bit of like let's say like military hold on a lot of the galaxy where they like just threaten violence,
Okay.
right? Because they're like, oh, we have this big planet destroying
Yeah,
thing.
stay in line or get obliterated.
Yeah, stay in line, or maybe your planet just disappears. Who
So,
knows? I don't know.
Chombo, can you see Chombo fucking with the
Yeah,
curtains
yeah.
behind me?
Hell yeah, Chombo, fuck with the curtains.
Come here.
Chombo,
Whatever.
bite the curtains.
Whatever. Yeah, no, I agree that we should have. Well, I also think that we should have a little bit of separation between the Sith and the Empire. Like, I think
You want the Empire to be like a holy order, but
not
opposite the
necessarily.
Jedi?
What I think would be interesting is that if like Palpatine obviously is like the Sith, we still have like our main hidden antagonist who's
Yeah, like the
the one
Emperor.
pulling the guy pulling the strings behind the scenes for like everything.
Yeah.
But he does have his Sith apprentice, who's Darth Maul. But I would like to see if like maybe like there's a bit of like maybe not discourse, but like disagreement between them. Like Darth Maul doesn't believe like he's a very like a purist Sith, and he doesn't think that Sith should be doing like these weird political things. Like their whatever their original mission was, like he wants to try and go back to that. So maybe that's a way to like kind of destabilize their end a little bit, make a little bit of drama for the bad guys as well. But I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Or
What
they
is
just
our Sith original mission? Like, what do they want?
I actually don't
to
know what
happen.
that. I don't know, like in the original lore. And see, that's the thing too, is like with with these movies, wasn't an issue. I feel like that you needed to read all these like whole extended backstories and comics and books and novels and all these other things to understand what it is. I would like for like everything to be explained in the movies that is
Yeah.
necessary. So for the Sith, let's say if we want to do it like as the dichotomy or the binary of the Jedi and the Sith, that like, oh, we're one is like order and justice and whatever, and the other is like all emotion and willpower and stuff like that. I was like, that makes more sense than just being like, because the classic overused and is the order versus chaos. Like, oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
one group of guys is all about the rules, the other guys are fuck rules. So I think
Like the
is
Sith are not all about chaos, even
no, no, no.
in the original Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
which makes a lot of sense, right? They're more about just like power and obtaining it by any means necessary.
Mm-hmm. So let's say that the if we're going to do it this way, then we need to set up the conflicting ideologies, and if we're exploring more into the Sith and like kind of like what the Jedi are, then we could say that the Jedi were like the Force was this like power that's a long time ago people realized that they could harness and manifest and blah blah blah. And originally it was there were no Sith or Jedi, there was just Force users. And as more and more people as explored the galaxy, found more Force users, and were able to like learn, excuse me, what the Force could do besides just like move things or like read minds or like do other things. So like different people across the galaxy were manifesting the Force in different waves. And so then it was like, oh, well, there needed to be a way of like finding these people, organizing these people, training these people. And so originally there could be this original sect of like Sith and Jedi. It was all one. There was
Yeah.
no divide.
Yeah, like a force order or something.
Exactly. And then at some point there was conflicting ideologies between the two head honchos, whatever, the one head honcho and the council or whatever. Essentially there was a divide between, well, we have all this power, like, do we use it as like shepherds of the galaxy where we're the ones in charge of it from like a peacekeeping standpoint where we only involve ourselves when we're needed, or do we take a more direct approach and we become like the enforcers of the galaxy? And it's like, since we have this like insane cosmic power that cannot be replicated by any scientific means, like it's just something you're born with, the ability to
Yeah.
have like telekinesis and mind control, like is it not our responsibility then to be the ones in charge of this? Because like we can invoke like absolute willpower and like just like change governments or whatever just by like sending a couple dudes just to like mind blast them or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was,
Get him with the brain blood.
so
Brain!
taxes.
Taxes! You want to pay more taxes? Give me your money! Shit,
So
maybe that's actually happening. Am I getting brain blasted? I gotta get a tinfoil hat out. Hang on.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that could be like one side is like, since we do have this like since we do have power over all other sentient life in the galaxy, like do is it our role to take ourselves out of the equation because like we're pretty much gods at this point, or is do we use this godlike power to like set rules and for civilization and make sure that everyone's getting along that way? And so it can be like, okay, maybe that's where the divide was, that you have these two camps that ultimately wanted to have peace, but just the way that they were going about it. Or maybe one was just like, no, we just want more power. Like, we're the most powerful creatures in the galaxy. We want more power, 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 power.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. And like that sets up well if we're going by like the Star Wars amount of movies and shows narrative, like you could have a whole series about this that predates way before the prequel movies start, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
way back. You'll have these two guys like fighting for power of the order of force users, and one dude is just like, yeah, I think since we're so strong, these guys aren't fit to govern themselves. We may as well take absolute power, and that lines them up really well with how the Empire kind of operates in traditional Star Wars, where they're so powerful and they have so much force that they just say, "We're in charge. Don't talk back. Don't do anything, or
Yeah,
we'll
stay in
just
line.
obliterate you. Stay in
Exactly.
line." And then where the Jedi are more like, yeah, we're really powerful, but like we don't want to interfere because we're so powerful. It's irresponsible of us,
Right,
and they just try
exactly.
and stay back and kind of let everybody do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
there are benefits and drawbacks to both. I mean, if this is real life and there's like a race of people who are just like telekinetic and better than you at everything,
Everyone would try and hunt them down.
oh god, can you imagine? It would
Yeah.
actually be just pure anarchy.
They would be constantly under. They would just leave the planet. I could they could,
How? We don't have that technology. I mean,
if they're
maybe in
telekinetic,
Star Wars,
you just float
float
a
away.
mansion. Yeah, just pull an island into the Pacific and just live there.
Dude, that always kind of bugged me about the Force is like these guys are so strong. Sometimes they're like stopping a fucking like
The
a
Star
plane or
Destroyer.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like so crazy powerful with the Force. They're like ships are like moving, giant boulder, whatever. And but they still walk.
Yeah.
You
Just be
pick
floating
yourself
around.
up and carry yourself around. Come on. That sounds like way more. Maybe it's just so taxing on them mentally. I don't know.
Maybe. So
Dude, I
then,
ain't walking if I have the Force.
if you can
Kidding me?
fly, no, no, I
Hell
agree.
no.
Okay, so let's let's look at the start of episode 2. Then Qui-Gon's dead, uh, and this political move that whatever is doing. The reason why the Queen is a refugee, we learn a little bit more about that. She's trying to get back to her home planet.
We're gonna have said home planet be under siege by.
Should it still be under siege?
I don't think so. I
No.
think that there should be more of like a struggle for dominance of like the planets that are in between, either being very Sith leaning or very Jedi leaning, seeing as they're like gonna be basically two armies, right?
Right. So then we'll
So
say
maybe it's
that.
like a middle ground.
Okay, so then let's say we like if we have like the separatist whatever, like the Trade Federation or whoever as the bad
Yeah.
guys that are trying to occupy Naboo because of its valuable natural resource whatever. There's a special rock that makes either weapons or engines or something that's like super valuable
Special
that
rock.
can
Yeah,
only be
expensive
found on this
rock.
planet.
Unobtainium.
Yeah, unobtainium, special rockium can only be found on Naboo.
Special rockium. We love special rockium
Yeah.
around here.
So that's why the Federation wants it because then they can build super, or maybe what like the mineral
Maybe
that is found on
yeah.
Naboo is like the only mineral or energy, whatever, that can be used as like a battery for the Death Star. And in order
It's
to
how
build,
they power their Death
yeah,
Star.
the only way to like build this like super crazy whatever weapon is to use like the massive core of this planet. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the core of the planet is what they need.
They just need to rip the planet apart. They have like these giant machines that just like crack it and it just splits open and they're just like suck out the core.
That could be good.
Delicious. That'd
And
be
so,
cool as hell.
and maybe that's the end of the part of the end of the first episode is we start seeing like these giant like drilling ships like land on Naboo, and we don't really know what they're doing. And then when we go into the next episode or the next movie, it's kind of revealed like, oh, like the reason why like my planet is under attack is because the only like maybe she can explain in the first episode like, oh, the reason why my planet is under attack, we have a very valuable resource there, and but
Yeah,
the
they have
Trade
some kind
Federation
of
wants it all for
crazy
themselves.
liquid core.
Sure, like
Of their
vibranium,
planet.
whatever. Yeah, liquid cooled
Doesn't
planet.
matter.
Yeah.
Adamantium.
Cats, 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 cats.